welcome to the interview at Hadley Media, Allison. We want to start with the first question, and I'd like to know something about you and your educational background.
Sure. I was born here in the Netherlands, and I lived here for the first 10 years of my life. And then I moved with my parents to the United States, where I lived for 11 years. Also went to community college and university there. And then actually decided to move here and finish up my degree in international business management at the Hansa University.
Okay, nice. And which year are you right now?
I am in the second year.
Okay, nice. What do you know about our company, about Hadley Media?
Well, I know that Hadley Media does a lot of marketing, PR, social media management, things like that for some big companies and events like Coachella, American Eagle, Sci-Fi, Fox. I know that you guys are very international and have been doing this for more than 20 years and are looking for people that are very motivated and passionate about the job.
Yeah, that's indeed true. Why are you interested in the internship that we offer at Hadley Media?
Well, I think I'm very self-motivated and passionate, and I think that I could learn a lot from being here, and I also think that I could help your company thrive. I work very hard and I work well under pressure, and I think that these are things that you guys are looking for, so I think that I could offer that.
Okay. So let's go in detail on what do you see as your strength? Maybe you can name me one or two.
I think I am very well at working in a group of people, motivating each other. I think that adds a lot of value to tasks, and I also think that I am very good at communicating, being social, and yeah, just working in a team really I think is cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess throughout your life you already experienced or got to know your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Can you name a few here?
I think one of my biggest weaknesses is that I get stressed very easily, but I also think that having a little bit of stress and a little bit of pressure makes me work harder, and in the end it usually works out okay, but I do get stressed pretty easily. And also delegating tasks when working in a group, I tend to rather do things by myself and make sure I do it right rather than focusing on other people, but I am getting better at that because we have done a lot of group projects in the university that I attend.
Okay. I saw your CV, so you already had some working experience. So do you know what motivates you in a job?
Sure. I think that having a good team of people around you really goes a long way in a work environment, and that you can motivate each other. Also having meaningful work that you care about and are passionate about, and also having some degree of responsibility, not just getting coffee or doing some filing, but having at least some degree of responsibility and independence, I think really helps me thrive in a work environment.
Okay. At our internship, it's very important to also have some knowledge in Google Drive. Mm-hmm. How are your experiences with that?
I have used Google Drive for a few years now already, like 6 or 7 years, so I do have experience with it.
Do you also work with that in school, or what is your main?
We use a few different things at school. We use Dropbox, Facebook groups, WhatsApp. I personally use Google Drive, but not everybody does.
Okay. Do you also have knowledge about Adobe, CS, Keynote, and Photoshop?
I don't have any experience with those, but I am willing to take courses or any classes that are offered, whatever it takes.
But are you a person that can easily learn those kind of technological things, or?
Yeah, I am. I did take an information systems class at the University of Nevada, Reno. So we learned a lot of things about Excel, Word, Photoshop, and I picked those up pretty quickly. So I think that I could.
Okay, that sounds good. So back to your working experience. I had a look at your resume, as I said. Can you tell me something about your working experiences in specific?
Sure. Most of my experiences, actually all of my experiences, are in customer service. So I worked at a small local grocery store for 7 years. I started when I was 15, so very young. And I also worked for 6 months at a very fast-paced restaurant, California Pizza Kitchen, in Long Beach, which was always very, very busy and very fast paced, lots of multitasking and things like that.
Okay. Describe me a situation in which you had to work under stress, because you already mentioned that stress is not your best friend, but can you explain me a situation?
At the California Pizza Kitchen in Long Beach, like I said, was right across from the convention center in Long Beach, so that was always very stressful when a lot of customers came in at once and you had to make sure that they were all seated or give them a quote on waiting time, answer the phone, help the wait staff, make sure the bathrooms were stocked, things like that, all at the same time. So you sort of have to make sure to stay very organized, delegate a little bit. If you have a co-host, tell them you're in charge of seating and rotation. I'm in charge of answering the phone and making reservations. And if everybody just stays on task, then a stressful situation like that can run very smoothly. So that was what I did a lot of the time there.
Will you do that again?
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy it. I mean, like I said, that stress, I do get stressed very easily, but once you sort of know what to do in one of those situations, it becomes easier and easier, and it just helps the task run much more smoothly.
Okay. What else? So you said that you work in a lot of groups at your university. Could you describe me a group project you were involved in and what role you took?
Sure. At my university, the Hansa, there was a lot of group projects. The two biggest ones were in the first year, the business proposal plan and the consultancy project plan. And those were both very stressful. And I think for the CPP, the consultancy plan, I took a mostly organizational coordinator role at the end because we each had a lot of tasks, but there were people in our group that were not very cooperative, not doing things. We ended up having to kick them out, so there was a lot of redelegating that had to be done, making sure that everything that needed to be there was there. So mostly a lot of organizational things that popped up towards the end that were just, you had to make a split decision to make sure that everything was there, and I sort of took on that organizational role to make sure that the report was correct and good.
But did you also like to take over that part of the group? Or?
I did like that role. I would have liked it to be a little bit less at the last minute, but I can do it if things happen to pop up at the last minute, then...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that's life, right?
Absolutely.
So again, working with other people, have you ever had a time where you had to influence and motivate people?
Sure. As a matter of fact, in that same project, of course, those people that we ended up having to kick out, we really did our best to motivate them and to influence them because, of course, it was to our benefit too that they do their work, that we don't have to take everything over. So we try to motivate them. For example, messaging them, calling them, making sure that you stay updated on what they're doing, what I'm doing, what everybody in the group is doing. So we try to make sure that they were getting things done, but at some point you also have to know when to cut your losses, which we did in the end. But we did really try to motivate them by checking in, offering solutions, offering maybe a helping hand if we have the time, things like that. But it did not work out in the end.
Well, at least you tried.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe me a situation where you had to do several tasks at the same time?
Sure, this happened a lot at the local grocery store that I worked at. There was a lot of times where everybody came in during the dinner rush and you're having to answer the phone, scan the items for the customer, bag the groceries. There was also a gas register that was entirely separate that you had to handle. So when you're doing all of these things at once, it's very overwhelming at first, but I worked that job 7 years, and towards the end you sort of get into a system, into a rhythm, and like I said, the stress and the pressure can be kind of useful to you because once you know what to do, it kicks in, your adrenaline sort of kicks in, and you know how to do all of these things, make everything run smoothly. So I think towards the end I became very good at it and knew that I could do it. So once you know you can multitask like that, then it's easier to do it again in a different situation.
That's true. I experienced that myself too. Yeah, I would say one last question and then we wrap this off. So in your opinion, what skills have you developed throughout your working experience and so forth that are suitable for this position and would make you a perfect candidate?
Well, I think this is a marketing and PR field that I don't have many actual working experiences in, but I do have a lot of knowledge from school. I just haven't had the chance to apply it yet. But from my previous work experience, I think there are a lot of skills that I've learned that are very beneficial, like customer service, multitasking, organizational skills, things like that, that could be very useful. And also just personal skills like communication, working well in a group, being creative, things like that. I think all of those skills added together would make me the perfect candidate for this job.
Thank you very much, Alison
Thank you
Bishop,
so
and we're
much.
gonna get back to you as soon as we evaluated this interview.
Great.